Hello, welcome to this week's CMF running video and podcast. Back again.
Welcome, hello everyone.
Cool. We're continuing on with our Tarawera series that we're doing. We're doing course videos. Today is the Myla course. We're also going to do crewing videos and others.
To be decided.
Possibly others.
Possibly others.
I did have a list, I've lost it.
Oh, well, it's...
So I think after this Myla one, we're going to do, the next one coming up is going to be crewing.
Yes, because it's obviously very important, as well as for the 100k and the 100 miler, especially considering that you basically would just be such hard work without your crew.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that quite a lot of people, our clients, are thinking about right now that are doing the 100k and 100 miler especially.
And it becomes really important when you have, a lot of people will have like 4 or 6 people there in their support. You might have your loved one there, then you might have your sort of family and, kids. Yeah, and so, too many chiefs.
Yeah. Who is the chief?
Too many chiefs spoil the broth. No, what is it? Too many chiefs spoil the... I don't know. Yeah.
So there has to be a head crew person.
But we'll talk about that in that video.
Yes.
Client review. We want to share a client review.
Yes.
Just get into it. This is from Chris.
So it reads, it says, the CMF team have helped me find a person inside me that I didn't know was there. They take a personal interest in your goals and journey. I've been able to learn and achieve things by working with them that I'd never otherwise have been able to do. The mix of running and resistance training experience is especially helpful, and they really are nice people as well.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Too kind.
Almost well up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing I was going to mention just before you head into it is you would have heard us talking on the last video on the 102k course description that we did. We talked about the NAC products, which are one of the UTMB sponsors, and their nutrition stuff, bars, gels, whatever, are at the aid stations for Tarawera. And Fuel Me, one of our CMF partners, is just days away from stocking NAC products. Just thought I'd mention that. Just, as an option.
Well, it's always probably a good idea to trial that kind of stuff, like nutrition products like that before, prior to race day.
So if you're looking for that as an option, because it essentially will help reduce what you're carrying if you have a bit more reliance on what's at the aid stations in terms of that fueling option. Comes with some risks because then you don't exactly know what's at each aid station. So
especially obviously it's further back, in the field, there might be less and less options. So if you're relying on that energy gel, they may be all gone by the time you get there.
You can never, in those remote aid stations too, you never know. So it comes with hooks, some of that. But if it was me, what would I do? I would probably look to try some. Keep a lookout on the Fuel Me site because they're days away from stocking. And if it was me doing the Milo, I probably would grab a few bars from them and just try them, and then I just know that I've got a backup option. I'd probably view it more as a backup option, because you might be at the middle, the remote part of the race, and it just means that if you've haven't quite carried enough, then you've got that as an option.
Sure. I suppose a month out, you've got a bit of time to trial it as well while running.
Still a couple of big runs to come.
So it could be an option for you.
Yay. Cool. I think that's it.
Yes.
Let's crack into it. So the Myla. How do I do this?
Don't know.
This one here. So here's the course. Starting at Kawerau, which if you did listen to, we did mention it in the last video, but we should mention it again.
Yes.
Because, Kawerau is 45 to 60 minute drive from Rotorua. So highly recommend getting driven to the start line.
Or staying out there.
Or staying out there somehow.
I think we had a client last year who was doing the 100k, thought it was going to start there, obviously, but then it didn't, so she ended up staying out there. So there is that option to stay out there if you like.
Yeah, I've known people... Probably shouldn't mention this in the video. No, people sleep, vans and stuff. Actually, there is, if you do have a motorhome or a camper or a van, or there is actually freedom camping out in Kawerau actually. So there's actually options around stuff you can do like that. sleeping right by the start line, and there is accommodation places available too, obviously. Or if you are driving out, definitely. What would we do? We'd probably drive out, I reckon, in the morning.
Probably, I suppose it's probably drive out.
Yeah, eat your breakfast on the way or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully the person driving you is like, not an erratic driver. Like trying to eat your breakfast, go around the corners.
We're running late!
Because there is, there are some corners and stuff, a bit of windy roads. But yeah, don't take the event bus.
Because it starts,
For the mailer.
Your race starts at 4 a.m. and, an hour. I think, what time does the buses leave?
From 2:30, I think.
Which is, I think, Chris...
From 2 even, actually. No, I think it's 2 and 2:30, yeah.
It's like literally the middle of the night.
So, yeah, man. It's just not worth it. Like, you've done all this training for this event and having to get up at God knows what time you'd have to get up. 1 or something.
Yeah.
12:30. Like, yeah.
Well,
if you were catching the bus, yeah.
Yeah, 12:30 might be. Oh, actually, I don't know. Yeah.
So you've like done all this training for this event, and then you're catching the event bus, and you're having to get up so early. It's not worth it. Like, you've done all this work to put yourself in a position to have a great day. So it's not worth it. So if you are from out of town or something, try and get a lift with someone. There's that Facebook group, the Tarawera Facebook group. Just be like, yo, give us a lift.
Yeah, as long as you're leaving at... What time do you think is a good time to leave?
It is a 4 a.m. start, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay. Well, you want to be there around, 3:30 or something, wouldn't you? So you're still going to have to leave at like 2:40 at the latest. Depending on where you are in town too. Like if you're on the west side of Rotorua, then definitely, want to be leaving at 2:30. If you're on the east side, of town, then 2:40 get away with. Get out there at 3:30ish. That gives you 30 minutes to do your thing.
Yeah. I think it just at 30 minutes it goes so fast, right? You just a bundle of all sorts of emotions, and you don't need to add like late stressiness. That a word? Like being late stress to
you don't be stressing on the way, eh?
For sure.
Yeah, but 30 minutes. That sort of 30 minutes is the minimum that you'd want, at the start of any race, really, wouldn't it? Well, especially an important event like this.
I suppose the benefit of running 100 miles is that you don't need to go do a warm up, right? There's no warm up.
There is it's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it?
There's no warm up.
It's like you're doing this big race, but it's a very there's no warm up. You can be very relaxed at the start.
Yeah, like the first 50 Ks. Obviously it depends maybe where you are in the field, but like the first 50 Ks, like you're just getting into it's like you're starting the run, but the race doesn't start until much later on in the day. So you've got you got a 50K warm up. Yeah.
Thought I'd mention too, just before we jump into it, is our CMF friend Gareth Morris, who many of you will know on YouTube, Westy Runner. He's actually releasing some pretty cool videos too on stuff to do with Tarawera. Compulsory gear one he's just put out. He's talking about compulsory gear and sort of packing your pack. So that's sort of something we're not covering. So that's pretty cool. One to check out. And he's also got some other stuff coming up. Nutrition, paces and crew. We'll be covering paces and crew also. But that would be worth checking out too. He's got a bunch of stuff coming up. So keep an eye on his channel as well.
Awesome. That sounds like a really good. Thanks, Gareth.
So into this. Kawato. Yep, sweet.
Obviously a fairly runnable, flat kind of start.
10Ks of looks pretty good. 10Ks are looking pretty good. I guess it's worth mentioning now. I guess there's actually a lot of forestry road, isn't there? Until you get a lot of forestry road until you get to Okahu, isn't there? 56 Ks in.
Yeah, you're like doing a runnable ultra before you get into the rest of the ultra. First 50 Ks.
Yeah, so this is Okahu here down the bottom. starting here. So yeah, that sort of first 50 k's is a lot of forestry road, Yeah,
Which is a good thing. Like, you're so early on in the day. Like if it was super technical, or super technical, super hilly, or things like that, it'll take a lot of energy to sort of focus on your running. Whereas obviously on forestry road, you can just get into your good steady running and walking and focus. Running like at heart rate and hopefully talking to a few people along the way.
Yes. We were actually talking about this before we started. We're organising ourselves. The makeup of this course, the way it is this year, is brilliant. Because, like you said, you got this first 50 Ks of, it's like real tick box stuff.
Yeah.
And you haven't got any crew. You're not seeing any crew until Ruri Whakaitu, which is the aid station after this Okahu one. So 60 odd Ks, which is fine. You can be on your own for that long.
Yeah, you've probably done it in training, right? You may have done a 50K training run on your own. It's so you know how to do this,
Yeah. And so, you're just tick boxing those that forestry road. Yeah, and then the later on in the course, as you sort of get Buried Village, where was that one? This one? Yeah, so once you get sort of 65, you'll see your crew for the first time at 65 Ks. Then you got your boat ride coming up, the Esmus aid station, and then crew again at Buried Village, 88. And then, after Buried Village, there's a lot of civilization.
Atmosphere.
So that's pretty awesome, like compared to the normal Mila course, where you sort of see people quite a lot for the first 60, 70 Ks, don't you? Because you're going around the other way. I think Okahu is about the 70 K mark, isn't it? 68
No,
Ks,
60. No, I think it's 62.
Oh,
I think it was 55 at Ruri Whakaitu.
Ah, it was,
and then 62.
Another 7 Ks road,
That was the last time,
and
the
then
crew saw you.
So on the normal Mila course, after 62,
Yeah,
62ish Ks, you're not seeing anyone until 120 odd, until you get all the way to Okatona.
And it's like a big surprise on what the runner will be like. They could be in good spirits, or they could be delirious, or they could be somewhere in between.
Yeah, you just don't. It's such a long time. Like it's like
But we don't have that so much anymore. I suppose that the most time that you'll spend by your own is like we said, like in the first 50 to 60 Ks, which like if something's going on there, then you're just...
It's a little bit early for stuff to be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're all good.
Yeah, I think one of the key sort of distances, or the key periods of a miler distance to be, just mindful of is I think it is that sort of, that 70 to 120, that sort of, that 50K block.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's that thing, of the middle of the race that you typically get with a lot of races. It's that middle of the race part which can often be the hardest, because it's just, you just have to grind away, and you're not quite close to the finish line. The finish line isn't quite pulling you in yet, but you've covered a lot of ground at the same time, and that's the period of the day where like things start popping up, and you've got to problem solve things, and if it's a hot day, or it's the heat of the day you're in, and just all that kind of. So as you go through like that period in this course, you're going to be you're going to be seeing people. Buried Village is over halfway, just over halfway. What was it?
Yeah, like 88 Ks.
88 Ks. Yeah. So it's pretty cool, this course. You're going to be Buried Village. You're going to be seeing people. You're going to be along the road. Like you're going to run past as you're running out to Lake Okaraka. You're running through like a suburb. You're going to be seeing supporters on the course. You're going to be seeing the Blue Lake aid station across the lake, and people are going to be beeping at you as they drive down the road. And it's just going to be, that's awesome. And let's not forget, you're going to be seeing people running towards you as well. So by the time you get here in the miler, you're going to be having, I think a lot of the 100K people will be running back the other way, right? Because you're out and back, you're 50K out and back. Starts around here. So all through here you're going to be seeing people run against you as well. So there's a lot to keep you entertained in middle of the race. That's pretty cool.
For sure.
Back to this. So what do we say? 50 Okahu was what was Okahu? 55?
Yes.
So 55 odd Ks of forestry road. What's worth mentioning in this forestry road section, do you think? I think this bit here actually 38 odd k's. Well, well, first you got the flat bit, Don't go out too hard in the flat bit
No,
at the start of the race.
Just think it's almost like a recovery run.
Please don't go out too hard at the start of the race.
On 10k PB.
Yeah. We're not. You don't want to be like. We're not banking time for later in the day here. Okay.
Yeah.
That mentality is not a great one. Just do your normal cruisy running.
Yeah.
It's 38 k's. And you've got a pretty decent few hundred meters of elevation over like a 10k period, and that's just before you get to the wee happy aid station. 47, almost 50 k's in. Yeah. So that's worth noting, and I guess that is. I remember on the traditional mile course you're running down that section, and for me that was a key part that I was kind of looking forward to. Because I quite like that sort of downhill stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. So I knew that I was climbing up. There was a bit of elevation, going the other way, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was just walking it, being conservative, and then I was like, cool. I'm going to get to run downhill for like 10 k's, have a net downhill. So it was quite good. It was a good period of the day for me, middle of the day, 70 odd k's in or whatever it was. That's the main sort of thing to be looking out for in that one, I think, or just to be wary of. And then of course you've got quite a sharp downhill actually after that. And it is quite sharp because I remember walking up it. That is quite a sharp bit. So just be careful of the quads, Don't be roasting your quads 50 k's into your miler.
For sure.
Yep. And then so we get to Okahu. Road section. That's the next key thing, isn't it? How much road do we have from Okahu? After the Okahu aid station, you have a road section.
Right. I think, you have an 8k one into Ruafakaitu, but I think the whole road section, we think it's around 13k's to Isthmus.
Just before you get to the boat ride.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So you got a 13k road section, and what time, it's going to be, if it's a warm day, and just remember, you're out in the open. It's like Farmville area. It's relatively flat. You're out in the open, and if it's warm, it's hot. Because you're out in the open, there's the tar seal off the road, that kind of thing. So you're just out in the elements. Again, it's like that thing of just being mindful of what you're doing, isn't it? I
suppose making sure you're drinking enough. And I just thought, would you change your shoes for this section, for the road section?
Well, you can't really, can you? Maybe. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Ruafakaitu is a place where you would do a shoe change. And how far is Ruafakaitu? 65k. It's the first place you can have a drop bag. Potential shoe change. If it's a nice day. We talk about shoes, don't we, in the 100k video as well, like the one we just released. Yeah,
and I think the whole it's a big topic, right? Shoes, what shoes, when should I change shoes? Should I change shoes? What shoes should I change into? And hopefully this is all just stuff that you've practiced in training a bit, and
a lot of personal preference comes in, and
and a lot of a lot of Rotorua Trail is runnable, right? So you may be the kind of person that does a lot of the running in road shoes. Or you might be, just trail shoes all the way. It's just all that kind of personal preference. And, some people like to change their shoes fairly often, and some people don't. So if you're the person that likes to change shoes, then obviously Ruafakaitu is a really good place to do that. It's your first
opportunity to be able to do that. Yeah.
And it's a decent way in.
And it is kind of a place where if you were to put road shoes on, then, it could work, because you have another 5k's of road after the Ruafakaitu aid station, and then you actually have, and then after Buried Village later in the race, that was 88k's, wasn't it? Getting good at this.
Yeah.
And after Buried Village, you've got a road section up until you get to sort of Blue Lake, and you got the trail all around Blue Lake, and a bit of road alongside Blue Lake, and so there's a bit more road there, and also on the way to Miller aid station, So around all this area here, this around Lake Okaraka, you got like road section here, boardwalks, that kind of thing. This is all trail, obviously. I'm presuming most people that are doing the miler have most likely done the 100k course, so you would be familiar with this Western Okataina Trail because you would have run it in the 100k. So
yeah, and if you'd like to familiarise yourself with it again, we went through it quite in depth in the 100k race video that we did. So if you want to refresh yourself and hear about it more in depth, because it's obviously a key section in the 100k this year, give that podcast a listen.
A lot of people will be doing it for the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so if you want a deep dive on this, if you want a deep dive in the 50k out and back, yeah, we do cover it in depth. Yeah, on the 100k video. Cool. So we were kind of talking about shoes and the road, but we were up to sort of Ruru Whakaitu, eh? So yeah, boat ride. You got a boat ride going across the other way. Did we cover Ruru Whakaitu enough? Crew, aid station, Ruru Whakaitu. Crew can be there. Drop bags, that kind of thing. We're going to put out some videos on drop bag and stuff like that. How to do that kind of stuff. 5k road section, boat ride. So the boat just continuously goes back and across. There was 2 boats when I did the miler. There was a couple of boats, so they're kind of like going like this across,
right?
Just continuously. However, the year I did it, just as we were coming in, one of the boats broke down. And unfortunately, me and Anna, who I was running with at the time, we had like a 20-minute wait for the boat, which was not ideal.
That's a long time.
It was a long time. So like we were running down to the boat ramp and saw the boat. Like we just left, just missed it. We were at the front of the queue, like for the next boat, and so we had to watch it go all the way out and come all the way back. And it was a bit annoying. But yeah, one of those things that nothing ever goes to plan on race day, right?
For sure.
Yeah, with this sort of distance, there'll be things that pop up, and that was one of the things. And it's kind of like nothing you can do about it. You just accept it, and you look at the positives. So the positives was it was a good time to take on some hydration and fueling, a good time to rest. My friend Anna jumped into the water and cooled off. So it was like there's opportunity like with everything that pops up,
Yeah, and it's probably just like having a bit of a mental break as well.
Yeah.
You can, you literally can't go anywhere, so you can just relax a little bit.
Yeah. Then after the boat ride, there's just a short bit of trail, and then you've got the next aid station, Isthmus, before getting to Buried Village. So yeah, although Isthmus is close to Ruru Whakaitu, you do have a 15k stretch after Isthmus and before Buried Village. So it's a decent stretch.
Yeah, and I suppose if you've especially if you've had to wait, you may have drinking quite a bit of water as one of your things, like as you're waiting. So yeah, it's good just to top up, obviously your water bottles and things like that. And even if it's not, even if you haven't and they're not, full, you can still top it up so it is. It's not empty. You can still top it up so it is full, because like 15k's, it's quite a long way. And it would be
at miler pace, 15k's on. It's not an easy trail. This as well. Like there's some decent. What is it tells you here? Elevation gain from Isthmus, 530 meters. Yeah, so it's not. It's not easy, and it's look at where it is in the race, 80 odd k's into the race. So it's that window that we were talking about, eh?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get halfway through and like have no water left. It wouldn't be ideal, because you could pay for it, further on in the race. So I suppose it's just like miler. It's just like problem solving and making sure that you're like okay, and making it's just looking after yourself while running and racing.
Surviving until you thrive.
Yeah.
So it's a bit similar to we kind of what we talked about in the 100k video, where you got this stretch here. It's you got these long sort of stretches here. So yeah, you're going to be wanting a couple of litres of water, I'd say. Making sure you got a couple of litres, depending on what your sort of pace is, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The quicker you are, the less you need.
Yes.
Because you're going to be at the next aid station in less time. So yeah, but pretty sure most people, by the time you get to a miler, you sort of know what your sort of hourly. You can work out how long it's going to take you, how many hours, based on your training and what you've done in previous ultras in the past, and you kind of know what your hourly requirement is of calories and hydration, and you can just work it out from there. Better maths.
Yeah.
So then onto Buried Village. So you've had your boat ride, you've had your isthmus, you've had your 15k stretch, and then onto Buried Village. Buried Village is another aid station. I mentioned this in the last video too, by the way, and I'm sure most people have seen it, but on the Tarawera site, this is quite a good little screen actually. It sort of shows the sort of elevation and all these, it shows all the aid stations, and you can click on them and tells you all this stuff. The ones with the red rings are the ones where you can have like drop bags, and you can have crew. Yeah. So it's like quite a handy little thing. This you can use it like for your planning and stuff.
Yeah, I just kind of like thought that like this is a long time out there. Like your thoughts are going to be all sorts, right? And so when you're coming into an aid station that's not got assistance, it's like thinking like, what do I need to do at this aid station? It's like a thought that you can have, like not instantly when you've left the previous one, but as you're getting closer to the next one, like what is it that I want and need at this next aid station? Can be, so then when you get there, you're not like, oh, what am I doing? What do I need? Yeah. So you've kind of like come in
with a plan,
and so that, because the more times you stop, the 0 kilometers you're running, and if you're traveling 0 kilometers an hour, then you're not making up time, and
you can't make up time.
You can't sprint.
You can't just be like, I'm going to go faster.
Yeah, you can only
make up time, like, because you'll just cook yourself.
Yeah. So it's just like things like that can help you, and that might be a plan. Like, depends on how organized you are. Like that, you could have like a plan for each aid station and what you want to eat and what you want to drink, so that you don't even have to think about it in the race. You just have to think about getting that ready. So that's. I
know for me, like, when I did this miler, I kind of had. If it was me doing this one, I would sort of use Ruru Whakaitu as a key aid station. You kind of have that sort of 3 key aid stations where, like, you're going to have a drop bag, you're going to have crew, you're going to like spend a bit more time. And for me, on this race, it would be Ruru Whakaitu, Okataina, and Tiki Tapu, I think would be the one. Buried Village. So I would go for 3 drop bags: Ruru Whakaitu, Okataina, Tiki Tapu, or definitely Ruru Whakaitu and Okataina for drop bags. Even if crew are going there, I would use them as a key, where there's like more stuff there, change of shoes, that kind of thing. Buried Village and Tiki Tapu, I would probably just rely on my crew, like with those ones, because I wouldn't need so much. But the support is awesome, and maybe they're just like bringing something special, or something like that. But there wouldn't be a requirement for like a big stoppage, that kind of thing.
Just a thought with the Blue Lake one. Like, this could be 2 a.m. Like,
yeah, totally.
So is your crew going to be
or
there?
8 a.m.
Yeah, it just depends on when. Like, it probably depends. I would say, like, depends on how willing your crew is committed. Like, are they going to, if you've got a pacer and it's 2 a.m., is your crew also going to be there at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point.
Like, maybe it is actually more appropriate to have a drop bag because it saves your crew person being there.
Totally.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
So those are the things to consider for your own personal race. Yeah.
And like ultimately, like we're just kind of discussing beforehand, is like the drop bags. There's no like right or wrong. It just depends on personal preference and how much you want to carry and how much you like want to stop and how
where you are in the field.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
And if you're like obviously heading towards the 36-hour mark kind of person, like every drop bag is probably going to be appropriate because it's just going to be so long between each of these.
Imagine if you're like a rare packer at the miler and you didn't like have a support crew, like say you've travelled here from overseas, like you would literally use most of them, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
Yeah, you would use most of the drop bags. Options. You'd need to bring a lot of bags with you, like in your travel.
This is my bag of bags.
Yeah, suitcase of bags.
Yeah.
For my drop bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all personal preference. So buried village, drop bags, crew, all that. And we're done there, and then we're pretty much you got you'll leave buried village and onto like road section again, a couple of k's, up to the sort of Blue Lake, where you sort of join the big out and back, the 50k out and back. A little bit of the trail alongside the lake here. Then the road crossing, and then you're into 10-inch track, the sort of 1.5k technical section. Then then we've got the boardwalks around Okaraka Road, kind of runnable stuff. And then Miller aid station, and same thing again, which applied to sort of Isthmus. You got quite a big gap between Miller and Okataina. So we won't really cover much in terms of this trail, will we?
No.
I mean, like we said, I think most people who are doing the miler have probably run this before. But it's basically beautiful native forest. You can check it out on the course profile if you want to go deep on it. We covered it in depth on the 100k video.
The only difference is that you'll be able to pick up a pacer in this section.
Yes. So we were going to touch on pacing, were we? Yeah. So you can pick up your pacer if you're having a pacer at Okataina. That is where you can pick them up. So Okataina, another major aid station, drop bag, crew support, picking up your pacer.
Were we going to talk about like how to pace a little bit?
I think so, wouldn't we? Yeah.
So does the pacer run? I think like one of my first questions that I think about is, does the pacer run ahead of you or behind you? And both are right. I think that I know like when I was pacing Chris that he kind of told me where he wanted me, like behind or in front. And I think that if the runner is running well, then the pacer can kind of be behind, sort of like keeping them pushing on a bit more. You sort of like, what's the word? You're like a companion runner, and you're just like going out for a run with your friend or this person that you've just met. And
pacing someone is pretty sweet when the runner is sweet.
Yeah.
If the spirits are high and they're going well, then you really are just going for a run with someone, and you're kind of just keeping the energy going and that kind of thing.
It's like ushering them on.
Yeah. Keeping them fired up, keeping the fire stoked.
Like no one likes to have a runner behind you, like and this runner is staying behind you. So,
or beside, like if there's like wide trail sections.
For sure. And then if the runner is ahead, if a pacer is ahead, that could be because the runner is maybe struggling a bit. And when you're struggling or you're tired, like you're looking at the ground and maybe having someone's legs to look at, to follow, to where to run.
And remember, this could be nighttime too. So it's going to be nighttime. So for the majority, you're running back out of Okataina. For the majority, you're going to be hitting darkness at some, if not from then, but pretty soon from then. Having some legs to just look at while the pacer is sort of making sure that you're on course and that kind of thing is very helpful, because it's less energy that you need to use, making sure you're on the right markers and all that kind of stuff. Just following that person in front of you can be quite useful if you're fatigued and a bit out of it.
Definitely. And another like kind of job of a pacer is like knowing when to talk and when not to talk. Like I personally would hate it if someone was talking to me for like 6 hours, and I don't know anyone that could actually talk that much, but definitely it's okay to run in silence, and just at the end of the day, like the pacer is out there having a really cool experience as well. You're running with this person that's run like 120 k's plus now, and like by now a lot of people may have run the furthest they've ever ran, and so who knows what will happen. It's a spiritual experience doing this kind of stuff.
It is quite an amazing experience.
So
I think it's good to if you can, you would meet with your pacer, obviously. Hopefully, in most cases it's like a friend, right? You're asking a friend to pace you. So in a lot of cases you're going to be meeting up to talk about stuff and to ask questions like this, like do you want me to talk to you, or there's no like rocket science or right or wrong way to do this. it is really just having the conversation of, yeah, do you want me to talk to you if you're like feeling not so good? Like, what sort of things do you want me to say, or how much encouragement do you like, or yeah, I think that kind of thing. The runner will have an idea of like what they like, and if you're like close friends, then yeah, it's a lot easier as well, like because you know the person inside out and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and just you know, we all have our strengths, and so you know, bringing those strengths to the run as well. Like if you're good at mindset stuff, or you're good at telling people the numbers, or you're good at I don't know, being that person that runs in silence. Yeah, it's all good. And another thing that a pacer could be really good at is like making sure that the runner is eating, like in between aid stations and at aid stations.
Yeah.
I think is really important. So you kind of, yeah, it just depends on the runner, and like a pacer can kind of save a runner, like get them to take on more calories and things like that if need be.
And just keeping moving forward too, like we were talking about before, not drifting into La La Land out there, you know, midnight on Western Okataina Trail, kind of drifting into, you know, a pacer can actually keep you like, hey, let's moving. This is flat. Let's run. Like you're able to run. Let's run. Like, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, I can run. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's run. You know.
Yeah, and I think like depending on where you are in the field, again, like sort of like that 120, like the race can kind of start here. So if you're good spirits and you're a strong runner and all that kind of stuff, like you could be starting to take over people by now. And so I don't know where that was going.
I overtook a lot of people, like in my miler from Okataina to the finish line. So that last marathon, I overtook a lot of people.
It was quite an easy experience actually pacing, Chris.
Yeah, I was in good. I had a good day.
Yeah, you were telling me what to do. I was really more of the clueless one, being very green to the ultra running world. So I was just really there as the new girlfriend.
Yeah, but I was filling you in. What I found pretty cool actually is because I was very talkative, because I'd been on my own for a long time, and yeah, I was just sort of filling you in on the day, wasn't I?
Oh yeah.
The whole first part of the thing, I was like, yeah, I've been this and that, and I saw this person and thing, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you probably can still do that, yeah. Just who knows what you talk about.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good, eh? It's good.
Another thing is like, and I'm sure you would have figured this out, like the music, having music playing at various points through the day can be a good thing.
Oh yeah.
With your podcast.
We had a bit of music playing, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we had it
just
out
on the phone,
not on headphones.
Yeah.
Again, that's personal preference.
Then there's like coming into aid stations. Did you mention that? So when you and your runner are running, you know, you're a couple of 100 meters from the aid station. Say you're coming into Miller for the second time. You're just like, okay, John, whatever your name is. What do you need from the aid station coming up? Because as a pacer, you can aid your runner at the aid station. So it's like, okay, what do we need at the aid station coming up? Okay, yeah, I want to fill up my 2 bottles. You know, it's X amount of 11 odd Ks until Blue Lake, so you probably only need the 2 bottles, and yeah, just that kind of thing. Do you want me to grab anything for you at the aid station? And like, yeah, so aid stations like Miller 2 become very, you know, you're just in and out, that kind of way.
Eating and drinking enough.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So as much as you're taking care of your runner, which is obviously the number one priority, you also got to make sure that you
take care of yourself.
No one really likes to be that dropped pacer. It's probably, especially in a miler, it can happen, and it does happen. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, just the pacer might have a bruised ego, but you know, at least the runner is doing well. Which is the main star of the day.
So yeah, remember to look after yourself.
Yeah.
And like even like on the day of the race too, just making sure you're sort of rested coming into the time when you're required to pace. It can be tricky because sometimes the pacer is also the main crew person, so it can be a long day. So depending on, that's what you did too, isn't it? You crewed.
Oh, it was just
a lot of the day.
I did, yeah. I did unfortunately have that 60k break, which was much needed. I was like an anxious mess prior to that, and then it's so easy running, like, you know, it's just
the running's the easy part,
totally. There's no waiting, there's no anticipation,
you're worried that you missed them,
all that kind of stuff. So and then you can have 2 paces, and there's I think that you cross through 4 aid stations, including the one that you pick the pacer up. that you can have a pacer, and you can have two, so you can change over either at Tikitapu or Redwoods. I think most people would change over at Blue Lake if you're changing.
Yeah, it's a weird one, that one, isn't it? I didn't say yes at Redwoods. Yeah, it's strange. So, yeah.
It must just be that you can, but not necessarily that you will.
No.
Like, you know.
Because remember, anyone can run with you from Redwoods to the finish too.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just your pacer, but anyone else. They just have to register at the Redwood aid station on the day, like when they arrive.
Maybe you want to change. Maybe there's a runner that kind of gets you through a pacer. Sorry, that gets you through from. I always struggle to say this. Okataina to Redwoods, and then you want to do like a sprint finish, but the pacer is stuffed, and the runner happens not to be, and
you've got someone who's like a 5K PB kind of person ready to take you in on the flat to finish you off.
Yeah. But most commonly, like it would be.
Change over at Blue Lake.
Yeah.
Yep. Tikitapu. Yep.
And or you might just have just the one pacer.
Just the one, yeah. That's what we did, Just the one.
So it's still a big day out for the pacer if you're running from Okataina.
Well, yeah, interestingly enough, it's actually longer as well, isn't it? Yeah, so it is about 50, just over 50 k's, isn't it, this time? Normally it was like the marathon distance from Okataina to the finish, but this time you've got that bit extra. So closer to the 50 or just over. So yeah, long day out for the pacer if it's just the one.
But it could be fun as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Have we covered pacers? I think we have.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to your pacer. Get a bit of a plan. See what they like. Don't ask them how they are every 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. Don't be patronising.
How are you? How are you? Don't do that. Yeah. Because that's just annoying. Know when to shut up and not talk.
Generally, you can vibe off the person. If they're in a dark place, just let them be in a dark place. It doesn't mean that they're just going to suddenly
You don't need to fix them, okay? Sometimes you just got to let them go through what they got to go through.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a hard thing, you know?
As long as they're moving forward and they're still fueling and they're still doing the stuff, then they're getting through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to cover anything more in terms of the course. We've covered kind of that stuff, and same again. If you've coming to the Milo, there's a good chance you've done the 100k before. You're pretty familiar with the Tikitapu to the finish line, and same thing again. We've gone on for long enough on this one, so if you want to sort of hear more about this part of the course, then you can check out that 100k video on our channel or on our Spotify. YouTube's the best place because you can see the video. Spotify, you can see the video too. So either of those two places. In closing, make sure you have a drop bag at the finish line. Having a drop bag at the finish line is just a really good thing to do. Put all your clothes in there. It's a really important drop bag actually. Putting on warm clothes, your body temperature does weird things after you've been running all day and moving, so you will get cold at the end. Put some warm clothes on straight away.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Anything else? That's us, isn't it? I think we've covered it long enough. Sing out if you've got any questions. We're doing some members only stuff as well. $30 a year to join our club membership. Jump into that if you want to. And if you want help with your running, then just reach out to us. Message us on social media or through the website cmfrunning.nz. We can meet up and talk about your running. Obviously we're not going to help train you for Tarawera at this point, January. But if you want help with your next race, or if you want a one-off consult to just talk about if you've self-trained for the Milo or your 100k for this year's Tarawera, and you just want to talk to someone, talk to a coach, help plan your logistics a bit, we can do a one-off consult as well. So just give us a yell about that. Anyway, catch you on the next one.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.